Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive into a story that, as one of our sources put it, was decided behind closed doors in Brussels and in sealed folders in Ottawa.
And it's a decision that has really fundamentally altered the defense architecture of the entire Western world, almost overnight.
It's a huge shift. I mean, for decades, Canada's entire security posture has been, deeply predictable. It was all about North America.
Exactly. But now we're looking at its unprecedented invitation into SAFE. That's the security and defense action for Europe.
And we should be clear, this isn't just some symbolic membership card.
No, not at all.
This is a deeply consequential move. It's the moment Canada starts to, well, dramatically loosen its historical reliance on the United States. It's creating brand new economic and diplomatic leverage.
So our mission for you, the listener, is pretty simple.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out how this happened and, more importantly, what it all means.
Yeah. How did Canada, a country that's, let's be honest, often underestimated in these big global games,
Right.
how did it become the first and only non-EU nation to get into Europe's premier defense club? What did Europe see in Ottawa that it didn't see in, say, London or Washington?
It's a deep dive into defense, trade, and what seems to be the new currency of global trust.
Okay, so let's start with the club itself. Just how big of a deal is SAFE?
It's the EU's direct answer to a world that shifted way too fast. I mean, you have Russian aggression, instability in the Middle East.
A lot of uncertainty.
A ton. Europe realized it couldn't just rely on external allies for its core security anymore. It needed, and they use this phrase, a new kind of security flexibility.
And what does that flexibility actually look like? Because I think when people hear defense alliance, they just think of NATO.
That's a really crucial distinction. SAFE is about building long-term structural independence. Think of it in three parts. First, standardized defense planning.
So everyone's on the same page, using the same system.
Exactly. Second, massive joint funding for R&D. We're talking next-gen tech AI, drones, advanced sensors. And third, and this is the big one, pooled procurement.
Meaning they buy their military hardware together.
They buy it together. Huge economies of scale, total control over the supply chain. This is how Europe plans to fortify itself, and Canada just got a seat at that table.
And this is where the story, for me, just gets wild. The exclusivity. Canada is the only non-European country they let in.
The list of who they didn't let in it's jaw-dropping.
Okay, lay it out for us.
Well, not the United Kingdom, despite, all the historic ties and their massive defense industry. Not Australia.
It's a very close partner.
And the biggest one, not even the United States, Europe's longest, most important strategic ally.
Wow. So none of them made the cut. But Canada did.
Canada did, and our sources are clear. This isn't some ceremonial thing. It's a fundamental reorientation of European defense strategy, with Canada now woven right into the center of it.
So what are the immediate benefits for Canada's military?
Instantly, Canada is inside Europe's long-term procurement plans, its coordination systems, and, critically, its proprietary intelligence sharing network.
Okay, hold on. That's a massive claim. You're saying Europe is sharing sensitive intelligence with Ottawa that they won't share with Washington.
It's sensitive, but it's specific to SAFE's mission. So this isn't necessarily, tactical intel on troop movements. That's still NATO's job.
Right.
This is about proprietary data on defense, R&D, on vulnerabilities in EU projects, on the next-gen systems they're building together. It's intelligence about European independence.
So they trust Canada to support that goal, and maybe they're less certain about the U.S.
That's the signal, yes. They trust Ottawa won't try to sideline that goal for its own national interests.
That level of trust is the perfect setup for the second piece of this, the economic prize. This is a huge pot of money.
Oh, it's enormous. To really get it, you have to talk about the scale. The market is already worth more than 150 billion euros a year.
Already?
Yeah, and as Europe rearms and retools itself over the next decade, analysts project that market will just explode. It's expected to surge past 1.3 trillion euros.
1.3 trillion. That's a number that changes the entire trajectory of a country's industries.
Absolutely. For Canadian companies, all those bureaucratic walls and political restrictions that kept them out of big European contracts, poof, they're gone.
So who benefits? Are we talking about specific regions?
We're seeing excitement across the board. Think of defense firms in Quebec that build naval systems, high-grade steel manufacturers in Hamilton.
And robotics startups in Waterloo, I imagine.
Them too. And the aerospace engineers in Winnipeg working on guidance systems. Suddenly, they're all on a level playing field inside this massive, reliable market.
And it's important to remember the niche Canada fills here. It's not like they're trying to build the next F-35.
No, they have quietly built this very sophisticated, very reliable industry that focuses on critical components that Europe desperately needs.
Okay.
Advanced drones, specialized radar, precision munitions, high-grade steel, armored vehicles, guidance systems. All the things you need to build a modern military. And they're coming from a supplier that is geographically distant and, crucially, politically stable.
Which brings us to the big question hanging over all of this. Why Canada? Why not the UK? Why not the US?
It boils down to one thing: predictability.
Just being reliable.
Being reliable.
Mhm.
Europe needed suppliers it could count on for decades, not just, as one source said, for election cycles. And Canada is quiet, stable, often underestimated,
Yeah.
but always reliable.
And that stability has become a kind of currency in this volatile era.
It's the most valuable currency. Elections in Canada change governments, but they don't usually throw the country into these radical, unpredictable foreign policy swings.
Which is, well, it's a direct contrast to the United States.
It's the unavoidable connection. Europe wanted partnerships that, and I'm quoting here, didn't depend on the political mood of Washington. They saw the U.S. suddenly slap tariffs on allies, citing national security. They watched major international deals get thrown into question.
Right, that unpredictability, regardless of who was in charge, it created a reputation.
It did. And that reputation has a real cost. Canada's reputation for being dependable, for not weaponizing trade, made it the safe bet, the secure supplier.
Okay, so that brings us to maybe the most fascinating part of this whole deal, the entrance fee, or the lack of one.
The mystery of the entrance fee, yeah. Access like this has to cost a fortune. But Canadian officials just kept saying negotiations were ongoing.
Which usually means they're haggling over a big number.
Right, but the context here is everything. We know from leaks that the United Kingdom was in talks to join, and they reportedly walked away after being told the entrance fee would be close to $6 billion.
$6 billion. So if a major power like the UK was quoted that much, why did Canada get a pass?
The analysis points to the same answer. Political stability wasn't just a factor, it was the payment.
So their reputation was literally worth billions of dollars.
It was worth more than $6 billion in cash. Europe was investing in long-term certainty. Canada's predictability was the asset they were buying. It was an investment in a stable external defense anchor.
And that transaction changes everything for Canada's place in the world. For generations, its defense orbit was just Washington. That was the center of gravity.
This doesn't break that bond, but it rebalances it dramatically. Canada's no longer tied to a single security customer.
They have options.
They have options, which means they have leverage. Ottawa now has real influence in places where it, frankly, used to just watch from the sidelines. It's independence through diversification.
And for Europe, they get a reliable, democratic partner that's geographically distant. It spreads out their risk.
Exactly. It strengthens that long-term strategic independence they've been chasing for years. And all of this is happening as the world is, moving in new directions, often without Washington in the driver's seat. This deal is a reflection of that new reality.
It really is an unmistakable turning point.
Mm-hmm.
Canada has gained something no other country outside of Europe has ever gotten.
A direct role in shaping Europe's defense future, and a seat at the table that could define the next 50 years of military tech.
For the first time in a long time, Canada isn't just reacting to global shifts.
It's helping to shape them, economically, politically, and it earned that leverage through a quiet, consistent foreign policy that just proved more reliable than its bigger, louder allies.
So sum it up for you, the listener. This was an unprecedented invitation from Europe, and it was based on quiet reliability, not military might. It opens up a multi-trillion-euro opportunity for Canadian industry, and it gives Canada real geopolitical independence from the U.S.
And I think the most striking part, the detail that tells you everything about the current global moment, is this. Canada didn't have to force its way in. It didn't even really have to pay the sticker price.
It was invited.
It was invited, and its stability was the payment. It signals that in this unstable world, a quiet, dependable reputation might just be the most powerful tool for global influence.
So the question for you to think about as we close this deep dive is this. If political stability is now the most valuable currency in high-stakes global alliances, the price of admission to the most exclusive clubs, what happens to nations whose foreign policy is seen consistently as unpredictable?